Tanks for flight.
Hey guys, Biden 25 here, watch launch of Anasis 2 on a SpaceX Falcon 9.
LD countdown net, go for launch.
Now the Anasis
The
2...
final call to SpaceX launch director is given the go for launch. We're at T-minus 35 seconds and counting. All systems are go.
Now the Anasis 2 is a mission for the Republic of Korea. The Republic of Korea, basically, I presume military intelligence, something along those lines. I've only been able to find the French Wikipedia page for the thing, so unfortunately I cannot provide you with much useful information.
Stage 1 tank pressing for flight.
T-minus
15 seconds.
Also the first stage has flown before on the crew
10,
demo
9,
flight.
8, 7,
6, delay system on.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Ignition. And lift off of the Falcon 9. There she goes. Yeah, this is the same booster used to launch Bob and Doug.
And when you propulsion is
ISS.
nominal.
It's interesting to see this booster flying again while Bob and Doug are still up at the ISS. But yeah, this satellite is probably a spy satellite. Well, not necessarily spy, but an observation satellite. They were talking about maintaining peace on the Korean Peninsula, so it's definitely spying on the north. Or, well, I can't say that with any certainty, I don't know.
Good?
But I assume it will be.
That's the call out. Says M1D engines are throttling down, getting ready to reduce vehicle acceleration in preparation for the period of maximum dynamic pressure.
Which is usually
We're in the
just a
bottom of the
bit
throttle
past.
bucket, as they call it.
It's usually a bit past when the vehicle goes supersonic.
Now the Merlin engines coming back up to full power as we get ready to go supersonic.
Vehicle is supersonic.
No Mach on this time. You can see the plume starting to
Supersonic,
expand.
we're coming through the period of maximum dynamic
There,
pressure.
that is.
Vehicle has reached maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Guidance engineer confirms we're through the period of greatest pressure on the vehicle. Continuing downrange, trajectory looks good. Propulsion looks good. Avionics looks good.
Everything looks good. Which is good.
And back chill has started.
That announcement from stage 2 propulsion. We are now beginning to chill in the turbo pump on the upper stage engine to get ready for its ignition coming up in about 45 seconds.
There's not going to be
Nice view from the
coverage.
SpaceX cameras at Cape Canaveral as we head east out of Space Launch Complex 40 into the first of 2 orbits planned for today. This orbit is the parking orbit, a low Earth orbit trajectory that will take us over the equator and will eventually relight the upper stage engine to transfer us into the desired geostationary transfer orbit.
So it's
Now,
probably going to
main
sit there and
engine
observe.
cutoff, or MECO, coming up in several seconds, followed by pneumatic separation. The first stage pushes away from the second stage, and then ignition
Using basically
of the
jet
second
piston.
stage engine.
I'm not going to go for separation because there's not going to be video of it because the customer requested it be so. There we go, Miko. Stage.
Miko.
Separation confirmed.
There we go. And
MECO on time.
second
Stage
stage.
sub looks good.
Ignition. There we go.
And the call-out MVAC-D engine is at full power. The view on the left screen, you can see
Right,
the
you can see
large
the grid fins
titanium
deploying.
grid fins now slowly opening. That begins about a 2-minute period as we slowly rotate the first stage around to get it ready to come back through the atmosphere and land on the drone ship in the Atlantic off the east coast of Florida. Right-hand side, second stage engine glowing red. That's normal for the MVAC-D.
Trajectory.
Trajectory is nominal, we've heard from the guidance engineer. Great views coming from space. We're coming up on fairing deploy.
Which, once again, probably not going to be footage of.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And we've heard the call out from the avionics engineer. Fairing separation is confirmed. I think you can see in the background behind the MVAC-D nozzle, one half of the fairing way in the distance as it went past the camera. So
Those are
right
also
now
going
we're
to be
coming
attempts
up
to be
4
recorded,
minutes
but
into
they're
flight.
new.
Trajectory is looking excellent. We're right down the middle of the road. Power on the upper stage engine is good. Bermuda is now getting the telemetry from the Falcon 9. And we're getting great views from space at T plus 4 minutes and 13 seconds.
For those of you just joining us, we had a successful liftoff of our Falcon 9 rocket at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time from Cape Canaveral. On the right-hand side of your screen, our second stage, its engine is glowing as we continue to take the Anasis 2 satellite payload to its desired orbit. On the left-hand side, our first stage. We're beginning our recovery attempt on our drone ship out in the Atlantic Ocean. The next milestones coming up include that first stage's entry burn, followed by the second stage engine cutoff, known as SECO-1, the first stage landing burn, and then that hopeful landing. The entry burn will occur at about 6.5 minutes after liftoff. And what you don't see pictured here are those two fairing halves. They've been jettisoned, and it will take some time for them to get down to sea level. So we won't be covering on the webcast that recovery attempt status, but stay tuned on social media for updates. You see some pretty clear pictures of Earth there. The first stage has reached apogee. It's beginning to head down there. We're only going to be firing 3 of our Merlin engines during this entry burn in order to slow the vehicle down before it gets to the thicker parts of Earth's atmosphere. It'll slow the vehicle by about 25%. When we perform stage separation, that first stage was traveling about 2.5 kilometers per second. So we have a lot of velocity to reduce. And we're just under 30 seconds from that entry burn beginning. It's going to last about 24 seconds. We're 10 seconds away from entry burn. Hopefully we'll be able to hear that call out and have visual confirmation that burn's begun.
Well, let us see. Okay, you can see the grid.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There we go. Engine ignition. You can see the grid.
Entry burn has begun. You'll see that the exhaust there will grow and start to become elliptical as we turn on the engines. The center engine fires first. The 2 side engines fire shortly after that. So that exhaust will seem to grow during this burn.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
All right, 1 burn down, 1 to go. That's the landing burn. It'll occur in about 1 minute from now, along with the next milestone, the second stage engine cutoff, or SECO-1. That'll be at T plus 8 minutes, 7 seconds. During SECO-1, we shut down the second stage MVAC engine on the right-hand side of the screen.
Signal from the first stage.
Also signal first stage, Cape Canaveral, expected.
In about 25 seconds after
Okay,
SECO-1,
there's the
Falcon
booster.
9 will touch
Booster
down,
to barge.
hopefully, on our drone ship. Just read the instructions. Currently, it's in the Atlantic, about 350 nautical miles off the coast of Florida.
Start of terminal guidance.
So we're going to have SECO-1 followed shortly by the beginning of the landing burn.
In terms of velocity of that first stage, drag alone is slowing the first stage down another 80%. That landing burn will take us back to get that last 20%, touch us down safely.
Because terminal velocity is a thing. That's why they throttle down a bit, because like at the max Q, because you could burn more powerfully, but it would be wasting fuel in the long run.
Just under 10 seconds from landing burn and SECO-1.
We'll probably see SECO before we see landing burn, just due to the...
SECO.
Yep, that. Let's see the actual visual confirmation.
Stage 1 landing burn startup.
We have confirmation of both landing burn and SECO-1. We're waiting
There's
confirmation of a
visual
good
SECO.
orbital insertion for that Anasis 2 satellite.
Oh, you can see the barge shaking. That means we should get video of the booster coming on, because
And the landing
SpaceX
Stage
is
one.
good with this.
Landing laser deploying now.
Nominal park orbit insertion.
Oh, there. Oh. Nice.
And there
Right
it is. That
in
is
the
our
middle.
57th successful landing by Falcon 9 on our drone ship. Just read the instructions. While we were watching that landing, we also had confirmation of nominal orbit insertion. We're all pretty excited over here at SpaceX for being able to use this first stage for a 3rd time coming up. But going back to our primary mission on the second stage, it's going to coast for about 18 minutes until we cross the equator.
Surely
where we
they
perform
wouldn't
the
allow.
second of 2 burns of the upper stage to help change the orbit. We're going to take a break until then, We're going to leave you with a map of where we are in the mission. We'll be back at about T plus 26 minutes for the second burn of our MVAC engine.
Yeah, I'm not going to stay around for that just because there's not going to be visual of payload deployment. But yeah, I'm Bowden25. That was launch of Anasis 2 on the SpaceX Falcon 9. Goodbye.